Hello fellow modelers and styling fanatics, welcome back to my channel. I hope that everyone is doing fine and enjoys the hobby. Concrete Banker is back again today with another one of its notorious episodes. On today's episode guys, we have part 4 of our British Universal Carrier, aka the Garden Market Operation Project. So, what happened on today's episode? Well, I started with the intention of doing some weathering on it, and due to a post that I have seen in Facebook, I decided to create a how-to, a tutorial, a demonstration, name it as you wish, of how I do my mud effects. As I've said, this is a how-to, a tutorial, a demonstration, name it as you wish, mainly because this is my way, the way I do stuff, and I want this to be a template for you guys. I don't want it to be a rule, I just want to be something for you to follow. Anyway, that has taken the majority of this episode's time, so I kinda did some more extra parts and I decided to name it Weathering Part 1. So without further ado, I don't wanna bore you guys any longer. You all know what to do. Grab yourselves a seat, make yourselves comfortable, crack the mandatory cold one or a hot brew, depends whenever you are in the world and what time it is right now, and let's see what me and Past George have prepared for you guys in this episode. Welcome guys, welcome to part 4 of our British Universal Carrier. As you see in front of you, we have the Universal Carrier in pieces, exactly as we left them in our previous episode. I have just laid them on top of my bench and I am thinking what to do next, because as always and as expected from me, I have done no planning. Now, after a quick thought that I gave it, I decided to start with a black wash so I can, accentuate every detail and every rivet, etc., and give it more depth and interest. Now, what I am going to use for this dark wash, my usual suspect, the Tamiya panel liner, and I am going to use this product until it finishes. When it finishes, I am going to proceed with my homemade oil wash. Well guys, as I've told you, I have applied the panel liner, my dark wash, and I am here to show you the results. Well, most of it won't be so visible, but since I have told you that I will show you, here it is. Let's start from the small parts first. Here is how the rear lower armor plate is looking. Pretty solid. The gloss varnish helped the wash to be a little more runny, to sip in the crevices even better and easier. Let's move on to the rear diff. Yeah, that won't focus. Here it is how it looks. We have both of the exhaust systems. Now here is one part that you won't be able to spot anything at all because it is not so visible. One of the front armor plates, and the other one. This one I gave a sludge wash because detail was so close to each other, so why bother? And here is the rear one, and I know there is a huge injection mold mark that I have forgot, but it is what it is. Hopefully it won't be visible. And finally our main suspect, the whole of the vehicle. Now this helped me to accentuate. This step has helped us to accentuate every detail. Now it is, what's our next step, you may ask? Our next step will be to add some parts. We can definitely add the exhaust system, the rear diff, and if we wish we can add the moving gear. Now what I am going to add, because although we can add this stuff, the real question is, am I willing to add them? Nope, I am not willing to add everything, because I have a plan. I am gonna show you exactly what I mean. We are going to skip the road wheels because we are going to apply some mud effects. We are not gonna go overboard because this is not a vehicle in a field, but we are gonna apply some mud effects, mainly because I want to add even more interest. So we skip this and we only add the rear diff and the exhaust system. I know that it doesn't seem like it, but I am ready. Now what we are going to do, we are going to apply the exhaust system first. So we need a sacrificial jar, my usual sacrificial jar. We need a little bit of super glue because parts are painted. If the super glue wants to cooperate, yep, it cooperated a lot. As usual, either it won't cooperate or it will cooperate a lot. I need a stick in order to apply it, and off we go, guys. We need a drop of it over here. And 2 drops here, and the other one here. Yep. No, of course not. I did grab the wrong exhaust piece. and the same goes for the other side. Okay, exhaust is in place, as you can see, probably. Not my best recording, but anyway, it is what it is. And now we will move on to the addition of the rear diff. Now the rear diff is keyed, as you can probably see there is a square indentation here, so we won't be able to misplace it. Now let me see, yep, like so. Yeah, exactly over there. And let's move things aside without making a mess. Impossible. And that's what you're supposed to be looking at after the attachment of the exhaust and the rear diff. Now, what's my next step? My next step is to move over here, attach the rest of the moving gear. But before I do that, I have a great opportunity in front of me. Since everything is missing from over here, it will be easier for me to apply my mud effects. As I've said, I won't go overboard, and I will be extra careful in order not to flood the whole thing with mud. The scene that we are depicting is probably, if I remember, a road, so no, not so much mud, sorry. But I am sure that this vehicle was operating in the field or in a muddy road somewhere in the past, so some deposits of mud will be apparent, will be left onto the surface. What I am going to use, scratch that, okay. So since I will apply the mud effects, this is my chance to show you guys how I do it. I mainly do it for the guys that are in the Facebook group, mainly because I have seen some guys over there applying mud in a weird way, applying mud only in the road wheels. This will never happen. Road wheels spin around, so they throw the mud all over the place, but they are relatively clean. The tire part is relatively clean. Now, the mud tends to collect itself over here under the fender at the corner where the fender meets the lower hole, and on top of the suspension system. When I say on top of the suspension system, take this one. For example, mud will gather over here on top of this spot. Nowhere else. It may gather over here on these arms, if you can call them arms, and it may gather over here on top of the suspension, not on top of the tire, because you know the tire will go round and will knock the mud off of it, most of it. So what I am going to use: soil from my garden, trademark, as Angle Night Shift says. It is crushed and pulverized as best as I can. PVA glue, white glue, and diluted PVA glue with isopropyl alcohol, IPA, and water, if I remember correctly. Yeah, and water. So I will also need a sacrificial paintbrush, just to apply the PVA. And me personally, I use this tool. This is a tool that you will be finding in a woman's nail salon. It has this thing, this tip for anyway, for nails purposes, but I use it because it has this thing that resembles a spoon, and it helps me to be more precise in the application of the soil. So enough talking about it, and let's actually do something. So what I am going to do: sacrificial jar as always. I am going to pour some undiluted white glue, PVA, whatever, wood glue, whatever you have. It will definitely work as long as it dries clear. And oh my god, the jar is near the end. I will need to replenish my supplies soon. I will grab a small amount of it, and I will only apply it where I want the mud to collect, where I want the dirt to stick. So I am going to apply it over here at the corners where the fender meets the hole, as I've said. This is where the mud will be collected. Don't worry if you see it a lot. I am going to spread it around. You have to be also warned that this will make a small mess on your burns. So don't be like me, grab a paper towel and place it over your cutting mat so you can be tidy. I am on a hurry, that's why I'm not tidy. I will clean up later. Another place where mud tends to accumulate is over here at the bottom of the lower hole. Be extra careful in places like this, which is the connection point with with a moving gear not to apply anything at all, because it will later be on the way and it will cause you problems. Now, surface is covered with glue, not all of it, the spots where I need to, and it is time for me to apply the dirt. Why I did apply glue first is for it to adhere to the surface. I hope that made sense. So now we'll grab my nail making tool, and I won't be as precise because of reasons unknown. I'm going to gently tap it so the dirt will go whenever the glue is and stick. Whenever the glue is not apparent, the dirt won't stick. That's why I was careful with the glue application. You see, I already created a mess, but don't worry, I am going to clean it, or else my wife is going to kill me. I am going to do the same thing onto the bottom of the lower hole, gently tapping. Dude. You guys will tease me a lot after seeing that. Okay. Looks like the mud is where I need it to be. Here is a closer look. Now, what's my next step? My next step is to apply diluted PVA. Why? Okay, the layer of the dirt that it is touching the glue is secured. What about the rest of it? The rest of the layer of the mud that it is not in exact contact with the glue layer. This will I will need to glue this. This will be done with the use of the diluted PVA glue with IPA. IPA helps you to break the surface tension of the glue, so it makes it sip better and faster. Better and faster, and it helps you glue stuff easier, stuff like dirt, etc. So what I will need is a few drops of it. Now, as you can see, I have moved the thing around, so the glue will seep everywhere, and although it looks like I have done nothing, believe me guys, when we will when this thing will dry, you will see the exact results. You will see a good enough mud effect. Let's knock off the excess dirt, and that's how I do my mud effects the last days, the last few times. Now I will leave it as it is. I am going to flip the vehicle and work onto the other side while this side dries, and I am going to be back to show you exactly how it looks. This side of the part has dried, and as you can see we have some really nice texture going on, but that's not enough if you ask me. There is a second step I usually do because, as I've said, in the first step I add this texture, and the second step I am gonna add the bulk of the mud, and in this part of the video I'm gonna show you the second step. But before I show you the second step, I want you to see the difference between the steps. So this is with my halfway there, you know, just only step number 1. This is how it looks, and this side is step number 2. This is with a full application, the bulk of mud, you know, mud deposits are over there and dry in place, and we have some mud streaks over here. Okay, they are not so visible. I can always, you know, paint them. Now, how do I achieve this effect? Once again, with the same ingredients, but with a different approach. What's my approach this time, guys? Let me show you. So, let's flip the vehicle, zoom out the camera a bit, and let me explain you. Yet again dirt, yet again the nail tool, this time a bottle cap, because they are usually cheap, and hell yeah, I can easily dispose them, why not? So, and I am dirty cheap as well. And third and last ingredient, diluted PVA with isopropyl alcohol, or IPA. So, what else we're gonna need? Another sacrificial brass, pre-sacrificial brass, okay? Pre-sacrificial, you're gonna see what I mean. So, what we do, boom, 2 spoons, you know, spoons of this thing, okay? At the sacrificial jar. And this time we make a mud paste, but with isopropyl alcohol and PVA glue, so it can glue to the surface, it can adhere to the surface. Now I am going to mix this thing until I believe that the consistency is right. I am looking something like a yogurt, like a creamy yogurt, to be honest with you guys. I always mix it as I go. I don't have any specific, you know, ratio. You're just making a mud paste, but instead of plain water you add some glue to the mix. So let me see. Okay, it will do the job. Once again, where do I apply it? On the crevices where I need the mud paste to be. Don't like the consistency. Let me add a little bit more. Now we are probably getting somewhere. Probably. Now this is a really crude way to do things, but you know, why should I buy, you know, pre-mixed mud like earth texture, etc., etc., since I can do the same effect with the real stuff, you know? I mean, why use a material to pretend that I am making mud, since I can depict mud with mud itself? What's better than that? What can beat the real deal? Nothing can beat the real deal, I tell you guys. So over here at the corners of the fender and the hole, I am applying a thick paste of this stuff, because over there is where the mud sticks and a lot of deposit stay. A lot of deposits gather. Sorry, excuse my English. It is difficult for me to think and talk. You know, I think and talk and do stuff and film as well. I don't know. Multitasking was never my strong point. So now, with the rest of it, let's make a more creamy mud pie. Because we are gonna need it. We are going to need it to cover up the gaps that we have left in our previous step over at the fender. You're gonna see what I mean. So this, as I said, will cover up any gaps over here. And finally, now our next suspect will be over here around the suspension system at the bottom of the lower hole. Oh, come on. Now another suspect in this vehicle that is going to keep mud deposits over here, this corner, you know, this meeting of panels. Mud is a suspect to be over here. Now this is for each vehicle individually, you know, it's up to you. Where do you believe that actually mud will stick, you know what I mean? For each vehicle is different. Now what I usually do to unify a little bit the whole thing, of course, and I clean up my brush with plain water, and I am dragging a small amount downwards, small amount of mud over here that I have collected downwards. This will give us the sticking effect, you know, streaking effect, and it will also unify the upper with the lower portion of the vehicle. Now I can't stress this enough, but it is up to you guys to find out in each vehicle where the mud will be deposited. A. B. It is up to you guys to build up on it. For me, in this case, this one is a little bit extreme, but it's still a pass to my eyes. Now, if you wanna go overboard, you go overboard. Apply a third layer, apply a fourth layer. Don't apply any layer at all. It is up to you. You can build up sorry guys, you can build it up or you can erase it but to be careful. In order to erase it, you have to do it while the stuff is still wet. It will take quite a long time for it to dry. Of course, it depends where you are in the world, and the temperature and humidity and a lot of stuff play a significant part. But as long as it is, dry, you can remove it. You can remove all of it, or you can slowly remove small sections, you can call it like that. Or you can add it. It is quite easy to do, and it is quite easy also to go overboard with this effect, so go slowly. Another thing is my technique. It works for me, it may not work for you. You may not like it. I am working on it on this thing the last month, and I find the results relatively successful and appealing to my eyes. Maybe tomorrow I will find a more interesting technique or a better product or some other kind of concoction that works for me better. But for the time being, this is the cheapest and most effective solution I have found it out. So this works for me. What I want you guys to keep in mind is, where did I place my mud effects? That's what I want. That's what I mainly wanna teach you guys. I never placed any mud effects. Okay. I didn't create a mud pie over here. I created it over here. Because this is where mud accumulates in armored vehicles. Think about it. Go outside, find an excavator and see where the mud accumulates. The mud never accumulates on a road wheel, because a road wheel, as I've said before, goes around and around and around, and every piece of mud that it has covered it will be flying away after a while. But here, this is not a moving part. This is a corner. This is the most difficult part to reach in order to clean a vehicle, so mud will be deposited over here and over here as well. So that's my technique. Yeah, that's my mud technique for the time being. Here is how it will look when it dries. Exactly. And it is time for me to move on to the next step. Now, what's my next step, guys? The application of the road wheels. Since we have knocked all the work out of the way, I am going to probably apply the road wheels right now. Okay, time to place the moving gear. I have done it from this side. Now let's move on to the other side. Now As expected, I have done the one side of camera because I don't want to bore you any further, guys, and I am talking about the guys that reached this point of the video. Thank you, guys. Your dedication is truly something remarkable, and let's continue. We're gonna talk about some stuff later. Okay, I have applied some super glue to my sacrificial marmalade jar. It has been here with me since the beginning of time, and we have this one. It has two things. It is kid. It has two knobs, one smaller, one a bit larger. You place it like this. Come on. Yep, like this. Now we move on to the second type of the suspension system. Here it looks like I did a mistake, and I have put the key part in the opposite direction for both for both sub-assemblies, but nothing but I have done a small surgery and it is okay now. Okay, shit happens, you know, guys. I may have mixed some parts while I was cleaning. Nothing a good small surgery can't fix, if I am to say. And last but not least, the idler wheel in this case. Okay, and we are done, if I am not mistaken. Let's see how this puppy sits. Yep, it kinda sits level with the ground, kinda. Come on. Now it sits. Yep, now it sits level with the ground. So at this moment I will need to add the rubber band tracks. But before I do that, off camera, I am going to apply some mud effects. Yeah, some mud effects, mainly inside here and over here on top of it. And then I am going to add the rubber bands off camera, because rubber bands are, you know, a pain in my back, especially a pain in my back. I will need to see how they sit on the how they conform on this model. Okay, guys, I filled 2 Kersh barrels. Yes, not jars. We are talking about barrels, and I have fitted the rubber band tracks. And here comes a rant, so brace yourselves. These rubber band tracks not only look awful, they are awful as well. As every rubber band track, by my opinion, but that's another topic for another time. So, the usual rubber bands that Tamiya and every other company, if I am not mistaken, that uses rubber band tracks except Dragon with their DS system, has the usual meeting of the tracks where you melt a pin and you melt the tracks together. But no, not in this case. In this case we have something even more shittier. And let me explain you. In this case, we have this, and this doesn't hold shit, to be honest with you guys. My dead grandma can hold your hand firmer than this. See it? Not only doesn't hold anything, the gap between the idler, the sprocket, and the return roller with the fender is so small that you have to be a surgeon and you have to brace yourself with persuasion in order to feed the tracks through. And not only that, this one, none of these two wheels have polycap, so you can turn them. They are fixed in place, especially the sprocket, and this is a huge problem. This is why I hate rubber bands, because you stretch them, you hold them together by unorthodox reasons. Either you melt them together, or in this case this crappy little contraption, but after a while they fall apart. I have multiple subjects that the rubber tracks fell apart, and this is why I always opt for the magic tracks, because you add a link and then you are golden, or you remove a couple of links and then you are golden once again. Anyway, rant over. Whoever tells me that prefers rubber bands, good for you, my friend, but no, that's not my cup of tea. Anyway, this is how the thing looks. I am holding the tracks together with staples in strategic locations. I don't know if you can see them, but they are exactly over here. 2 staples for each track, and of course, and after 2 or 3 years they're gonna fall apart. Mainly because the tension is too high, as you can see over here, and I need to staple this thing, and because, you know, the rubber is not a viable material in this case. So now we have the tracks on. I wanna say that we have finished our work in the running gear, in the moving gear. What's our next step? Our next step will be to, of course, and I knocked the exact part off. Our next step will be to do some chipping. Well, I know that I have told you that I am going to be back to describe my chipping technique. Yeah, how the chipping effect stage went, but I kinda plowed forward and did some extra stuff. Okay, I have done some sponge chipping here and there, mainly in the edges of the vehicle, and usually where the crew operates the most, you know, like boxes over here, this box, this place, etc, etc. You know how the thing goes. I used my go-to color for chipping, which is none other than Vallejo Panzerace's Dark Rust, and I don't have it handy right now. I have probably put it somewhere, mainly because my son made his way to my bench, so makes his way to my bench, so I usually hide my stuff in order for him not to find them. Anyway, I have done some chipping. It is relatively faint. I used both sponge and paintbrush to do the chipping, to give the vehicle the chipping effects, and it is so faint that you won't be able to see anything at all. Let's see if I can spot something. No, of course, and I can't. Anyway, so after that I gave every vertical panel a dust effect, as you can see. Here it is. I have used both pigments and dirt from my garden, trademark, as Angle Night Shift says. And here is what I have created. Of course, and I have given plenty full of dust. Over here is where the driver and co-driver are. I don't think they wipe their feet off, or they wipe the bottom of the hole. And here is how it currently looks. I also have done some chipping and dusted the front armor panel. Let me see if my camera can focus so I can give you a better look. This front armor panel as well. And this rear armor panel also. And that's everything that I have done for the time being. Now, what's my next step? My next step probably is a dot filter, but I think that I have enough footage for the time being. Let me double check this out, and I am going to be back. And as I have suspected, I have plenty of footage for you guys to see. So I will wrap this episode up. And with all that said and done, we have made it to the end of this episode. On our next episode, we will probably finish with the weathering, the rest of the weathering, and probably some more detailed painting of Pioneer tools and accessories of the Bren carrier, or the British Universal Carrier, whatever you guys prefer to call it. I hope that you guys found this video helpful and interesting, and stick along for the next one. Before I go, I want to thank each and every one of you guys that watched these videos. A special thank you to all my subscribers, old and new ones. Now, you guys are the best, and you are the reason I keep doing these videos. Now, for the newcomers out there that encounter one of my videos for the first time, welcome guys. I hope that you like what I do. If so, you all know what to do. Leave a like, comment with your thoughts and opinions, share the video if you believe it deserves to be shared, or even consider subscribing for more builds to come your way. Until the next time, fellow modelers and friends, take care and model on. It was that Mofo Demon, signing out.